Hello, welcome to Super Sunday Club this Sunday. I hope you've had a good week and it's lovely to see you. It's nice and sunny today, so I thought I would come outside for our video, and I'm going to start off with a little challenge for you. Now, my husband Alan and I have taken part in the challenge already, and the challenge is to build a town or a city out of Lego or building bricks or something you have. I don't have any Lego, but I have some building bricks. So Alan and I have been building our little cities, and if Alan can show you our first one, here's our first entry into our competition. Lots of different little houses and buildings down there. Could you build something like that? Take a picture of it and send it in to me. Maybe you could name it, or maybe you could tell us a little bit about what's happening in the city or the town. Because today I'm going to be telling you a little bit more about the story of Paul. So last Sunday we heard about Paul and how he was a leader, and he went around actually punishing people who decided to follow Jesus. He beat them up or put them in prison, and then he met Jesus one day when he was travelling on the road to Damascus. A bright light struck him, and Jesus said, "Paul, why are you persecuting me? Why are you bullying the people who are following me?" Paul's life changed after that, and that's how we left him last week. His life changed. So this week we're going to follow him and find out a little bit more about what happened next. And we're going to visit a number of different cities, because this is what we call Paul's missionary journey. And what that means is he had little journeys around the countries telling people about Jesus. That was his mission, to tell people about Jesus. And so we're going to find out a little bit more about how that happened. So journey with me, if you will, and we're going to find out some more. The first city we are going to go to is called Antioch. Antioch of Syria, because there was more than one place called Antioch, you see. And it was full of magnificent temples to various gods. The god Apollo promoted pagan worship and immoral practices. But because people were paying attention to gods and they were interested, they were actually open to new beliefs, and they were open to hearing more about Jesus and who he was. So Paul and his friend Barnabas taught the new believers in Antioch for a whole year. And it's actually the city where people were first called Christians. Before that they were called the followers of the way, but in Antioch they were first called Christians. So for over a year, they spent time there telling people about Jesus. But then it was time to move on. Let's find out where they went. The next city they came to, and probably using a boat, was Cyprus. Because Cyprus is an island in the Mediterranean Sea, not far from the Syrian coast. It was part of the Roman Empire, as was Antioch, and it was easy to travel between the different places in the Roman Empire. Here, Paul and Barnabas and their friend John Mark told people about Jesus and what he'd done through his death on the cross and his resurrection. Now, there was a governor there in Cyprus called Sergius Paulus, and he was really interested and wanted to know more about this Jesus. So Paul went to speak to him. Now, there was also a sorcerer there who was called Elymas, and he tried to win the governor back. He didn't want him to follow Jesus. So he tried to persuade him that all of this was nonsense. But Paul confronted Elymas. And when he did that, he became blind. He lost his sight, almost like a punishment for his evil ways. The governor did follow Jesus. So Paul and Barnabas then and John Mark decided to follow on to the next city. So let's follow on and find our next city that we've built. This one is called Perga, which is in today what we call Turkey. Now, it was a port city. It was by the sea, and it was very wealthy. Lots of money in Perga. There was also lots of temples to Diana, also known as Artemis, one of the Greek goddesses. There was a lot of pagan worship in this part of the world. But Paul and Barnabas and John Mark continued to tell them about Jesus. Now at this point John Mark decided he was going to travel back to Jerusalem and left the party, which upset Paul. But Paul and Barnabas continued on and they travelled on to the next city. Let's find out where. Well, it's Antioch, but it's not the same one. Antioch in Pisidia this time. Now, this is located in Galatia, and there were many Jews that settled here over the years. Antioch of Pisidia was known as a centre for Greek culture and religion. And here, they came to the temple, the synagogue, to tell people all about Jesus. And the Jews were listening. They were interested. And the Jewish leaders became jealous. And they decided they were going to have Paul and Barnabas thrown out of the city. There was nothing else for them to do. Paul and Barnabas had to leave. And as they left, Paul said, let's shake the sand and the dust off our sandals, because we're going to leave the Jewish people behind and tell the story of Jesus to the Gentiles. The Gentiles were people who weren't Jews. So Paul and Barnabas travelled from Perga onto the next city. Let's find the next city. The next city was called Iconium, another city located in the province of Galatia. It was a thriving and prosperous city during the first century. Paul and Barnabas came here to preach. Their words and the miracles the Spirit allowed them to do turned many Jewish and Gentile hearts to Jesus. However, many were jealous of what Paul and Barnabas were doing, and they got a crowd together. Paul and Barnabas heard that they were coming with stones, ready to throw them at them, to chase them from the city. So they left quickly, on to the next city. We travel around and we come to Lystra, another city in the Roman Empire. Now here there was lots of Roman army veterans who'd settled there. And Paul was the one talking to the crowds, and he saw a man listening clearly to what Jesus was saying. Now this man was a man who had faith, but he couldn't move his feet. He couldn't walk. So Paul asked God to heal him. And he was able to walk again. He was amazed. And when the crowd saw what had happened, they got really excited. They were so excited. They thought that it must be Paul and Barnabas that had done this of their own abilities. And they worshipped them. And they told them that they must be gods. They brought him gifts and brought them to Paul and Barnabas saying, wow, you must be gods that you've been able to do this. Paul and Barnabas were distraught. No, you don't get it. It's God that's doing this. God is the one who healed that man. God is the creator of heaven and earth and was able to do these things. Now, meanwhile, some of the Jews from Antioch and Iconium had been following Paul because they wanted to stop him. They beat him up and they dragged him out of the city, leaving him for dead. Now Paul quickly recovered though, and he started returning to some of the cities. He went back, retraced his steps. Iconium, where he'd been threatened with stoning. Antioch, where he'd originally said, I'm going to take the dust off my feet and leave them to it. Perga, a city which had so much money. Back past Cyprus and back to Antioch. Paul had a job to do. God clearly was using him, and his mission was to tell people about Jesus. This was just the first of Paul's missionary journeys. He actually went on another 3 which were even longer. Paul had a job for God. God had a job for Paul. And God has a job for us today. He has a purpose for our lives. And we just need to spend time with him learning and listening to what he wants for us. It may not involve travelling around the world to lots of cities. It may just be staying in our own hometown. But God will use us. We just need to listen and trust him. It must have been scary for Paul. I have a verse that I really like, which in the book of Proverbs, Proverbs 3 verses 5 and 6, which says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and don't depend on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, follow him, and He will keep your path straight. I think that's something that I keep being reminded of, that we need to trust God, trust what He has in store for us, trust that He won't ask us to do anything more than He'll give us the ability to do. And through Him, through His strength, we can do things in His name. I thought we'd do a little craft to remind us of that verse. So here in front of me, I have some different things that you will need for this craft. Now, first thing you're going to need is a little bit of cardboard. This is the back of a Rice Krispies packet. That's fine. You'll need some scissors. You'll need a hole punch. If you don't have that, then maybe you need an adult with maybe a pair of scissors who can make some holes for you. But if you have a hole punch, perfect. Pen and some wool, or some string, or some thread, whatever you think. And the first thing to do is, on your card, to draw a heart shape. Now I'm just going to draw a very rough shape and then cut it out. Once it's cut out, what you'll need to do is get your hole punch, and we're going to put some holes all the way around the heart. There's my heart cut out. And the idea is just to go around the side, making lots of holes, and as close to the edge as you can, and try and get them quite close together without obviously making a giant hole. So we're going to keep going like that. Here's one I made earlier. Couldn't resist. And then what I'm going to do is take this wool and put it through the back, and I'm just going to stick it down with a little bit of sticky tape here. I've got some masking tape because that was the easiest, but a bit of sellotape or something, and just make sure it's away from the holes and stick it down. And then what we're going to do is thread through the wool. One's through there, and then over to the next hole. Just keep threading it through. This is going to take a little bit of time. Once you've done it that one, you do it through again, and then through the next one, and we'll keep going round. Need to go back again till we have a nice border of all the wool. And we'll keep going, and what I'll do is, to save this video being very, very long, I shall make a finished one and I'll put a picture of it on the Facebook page so you can see it finished. But what it should end up looking like is having lots of red wool round there for a nice border. And then on the front, I'm just going to write in clear writing, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart." Proverbs 3 verse 5. And see, I'll put the finished one up on the screen to show you at the end. And make sure you hang it up, a little bit of to hang it up, and you can use that as just a little reminder that we can trust in the Lord with all our heart. Now, to finish off, we're going to sing a little song. So this song is actually by Rend Collective. So again, I'll put it in the Facebook link, but it's called "I'll Go Anywhere With You." It's by Rend Collective Kids, and the words go, "I'll go anywhere, anywhere at all, as long as I'm with you." And I hope you enjoy the song. I don't have any actions for this one, but maybe you could make some up. And maybe that's a song that Paul could have sung 2,000 years ago. "I'll go anywhere with you." And is it a song that we'll be willing to sing today? So remember to send me your cities. I look forward to seeing the pictures of them, and hopefully we'll catch up again next week. Have a good week, take care, and God bless.